Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Lexie and today's video is going to be a new one. So I have never done a book tag on YouTube and I'm excited to start and try one today. So today's book tag that I'm going to be doing is by Victoria Mann, and this is called the Splendid Spring Book Tag. So this is her original book tag, so I will make sure to tag her down below. But it sounded fun and interesting, a new way to talk about books and maybe talk about books I haven't talked about in a while. So yeah, I think this is going to be fun. So I'm looking at my phone right now on her YouTube video of the tag. So let's just jump into it. It says, everywhere you look, flowers are blooming. Choose a book you love or think you will love with the flowers on the cover. So for this one, I'm going to go, it's a mix of two. So the first one's going to be The Royals Next Door, which I've talked recently about. It's about Piper. A royal couple moves in next door to her and they bring a bodyguard. And there's a romance between her and the bodyguard. So it sounds like a cute little springtime romance read. But then I also have a little bit of a darker choice, and that is These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong. So this is about rival gangs in Shanghai. It's kind of like a retelling of Romeo and Juliet. So it follows a young couple. One, I believe, is the head of a Chinese gang, and then the other one, I want to say I heard it was a Russian gang, but I'm not sure. But it's just about two conflicting gangs, but the heads of each of them are falling for each other. So sounds pretty good. Okay, next is number 2. Spring is the perfect time for a fun trip. Choose a book you've read or would like to read while traveling from one place or another. So honestly, the one that I'm going to choose, this isn't the original one, but I actually just bought this today. And this may be a little bit cliche because this is talked about everywhere, but I did pick it up because it is mentioned everywhere and I did want to read it, and it is about travel itself. So that is The Spanish Love Deception by Elena Armas. So I did pick this up literally this morning when I was doing my grocery shopping, and I saw this and I was like, I need to get it because everybody's raving about it. So I definitely want to give this a try, and I think this would be a good one for travel because it does have travel in it. So I think this is going to be one that I may take on a trip with me and read it. So this says, a wedding in Spain, an infuriating man, 3 days to convince her family she's actually in love. So this follows Catalina Martin. She needs a date to her sister's wedding, especially since her little white lie about her American boyfriend has spiraled out of control. Apparently her ex-boyfriend's going to be at the wedding, so she needs to cover her tracks and she needs to bring a date. So this is obviously going to be fake dating, which is one of my favorite tropes. So, and it has travel in it, so I think I'm excited to try it. Hopefully it won't be disappointing because a lot of the hyped books can either be a hit or miss for me. So I'm excited to give that one a shot. Okay, number 3 is, who doesn't love a good spring fling? Choose a book you are obsessed with for a short period of time, but then you swiftly cast it aside. Now this one is going to be The Duke and I by Julia Quinn. So I read this after the series came out on Netflix, and don't get me wrong, I love the series. I do. I got hooked on it. I'm obsessed with it as well. The next one comes out in a few days and I'm super, super excited. But the book just didn't do it for me. I thought it did. I was obsessed with it because of the show, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to read it. I'm going to love it. And it just didn't do it for me. So I thought it did, and then I was just like, why did I think that? Because honestly, and the reason why I say that right now is because I can't remember really much that happened in this book at all. So obviously it wasn't memorable, and it just wasn't something that I was really, really drawn to. Like, I'm sure it was fine. I'm sure it was a good book, but it wasn't like my favorite, and it wasn't like something I need to rave about. So definitely don't think this is one that I'll really pick up, or honestly, it's not going to be one where I'm like, you have to read this. It's so fantastic. So that's that one for me. Okay, next is 4. Everyone loves the smell of freshly mowed grass, but not at an ungodly hour. She is a book that personifies as a middle-aged dad waking up at 7 a.m. on a Saturday to mow the lawn when he should be sleeping like the rest of us. That one for me is Girl A by Abigail Dean. So when I got this book from Book of the Month, was it last year? Something like that. Yeah, February of 2021. I was so excited. It sounded fantastic. It was like, oh, it's going to be this great thriller. It's going to be this. It's going to be that. I was so disappointed. So disappointed. Like, this is mine. It just annoyed me. Like, I felt like I wasted time reading this. I think because it was classified as a thriller, I was going in looking for that. But this is more of kind of like a mystery, or more of like a family drama book. It was, to me, it just wasn't the thriller I was expecting. So I was just very, very disappointed. And I don't, unless someone likes this kind of book, I never recommend it, because it was just, there was just a ton of family drama. You can kind of see what's going to happen, so nothing is like a serious surprise. And the chapters are so long. Like, the chapters are 70 pages long. Now, me, I like to stop when chapters end. So I'm like, oh, I'm reading and reading and reading, and then I'm like, 70 pages. Are you kidding me? So that's my choice. Okay, it is that part of the video again where the baby makes an appearance because he did not want to be sitting in his swing anymore. So we have a little chunk of monk here, and we're going to do the rest of the video together. Okay, so where were we at? Number 5. A surprise rain shower might spoil your outdoor fun, but don't worry, the sun will be back. Choose a book that made you really sad, but the sun shines in the end. I honestly cannot think of a book for this question because I try not to read too many sad books. I know typically what I can handle, and in the last year or so I haven't really read any like terribly sad books. I did read a sad book, but it's the one that I did read, it's going to be mentioned later, so I really don't have a book for this one. So I'm just going to skip that. Okay, and then the next is, it's that time of year when all the animals stretch their limbs and come out of hibernation. Choose a book that pulled you out of a reading slump. Okay, so for this one, this is definitely a very hyped book, but that's okay because it has been one of my favorites, and I'm going to just accept that and run with it. And that is From Blood and Ash from Jennifer L. Armentrout. Before I read this one, I was kind of in a little reading slump, and then, I don't know, something about this series hooked me. I love Hawk, I love Poppy, or Hawk Castile, Kieran. I just love the atmosphere. The world building is pretty cool. I like it always amazes me how someone can create such a world in their head and then make it come to life on paper. To me, it just amazes me. But I think the reason why I like it so much is the characters and the camaraderie between them. So, like, Kieran's always making fun of Poppy because she has so many questions, and, Castile, he's the little bit of the overprotective kind of person. Sometimes that's a little bit of a red flag, but sometimes in a romance book, you want that. So, this one pulled me out of a reading slump. So if you've been under the rock that I was living under before I knew what this was about, this follows Poppy. She's a maiden, and she's destined to ascend and help the ascended. Well, something goes wrong, and she's no longer the maiden. But it's just a fun fantasy romance series. I'm reading the 4th installment right now, The War of Two Queens, and so far it's pretty good. A little slow, but other than that, this book definitely pulled me out of a reading slump. And I can't really place why, because it really was my first fantasy romance, and maybe I needed fantasy romance in my life and I just didn't know. So yeah, that definitely pulled me out of the slump. Oh, bless you. You got big sneezies? Holy jamoli. Okay, next is students all over exhale a sigh of relief knowing they get a break from school. Choose a book whose friends group you'd like to spend spring break with. Now this one, where'd it go? Here it is. This one is probably one that you're going to be like, really? Because it's such an old book or old series and no one really talks about it. But I'm going to say The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. I would love to spend spring break with the 4 of them. I just love how these 4 girls have such a strong bond that nothing seems to hinder their relationship. And I love that. I have some close girlfriends, but nothing like a group, and I definitely think like a group of really loyal girlfriends would be amazing. I really, really think so. So I think that's why I'd want to spend spring break with them. Plus, one goes to Mexico, one goes to Greece, then they end up on a road trip. I think it sounds fun to have just a loyal group of girls to just do everything with on spring break. So I definitely think that this is a book, I read it last summer and I loved it because I don't know, The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants has always been a summer staple for me to watch, so I was pretty excited to finally read the books because for some reason I never got around to them. So definitely think this one is one that I would definitely want to spend spring break with. Okay, now the next one is Spring is All About Rebirth and Blooming. Choose a book that made you grow as a person. Okay, so that one for me, and this might be a weird one, but this is Firefly Lane by Kristen Hanna. So this one, when I say it helped me grow, it's because there was a time last year in 2021 I really was struggling. So I watched the television series on Netflix, and I enjoyed it, so I decided to pick up the book, and the book really made me realize how valuable... Stop. Okay. Okay. The book made me realize how valuable my friendships were. So I went through a really rocky time during with a friend at one point last year, and it was really, really hard because I felt like it was a one-way friendship. And I just felt there was a lot of problems. And it was a friendship of a long time, and I thought it was ending. And it just kind of made me realize that I needed to put those things aside and make amends. And it really helped me with that. So because of that, my friendship is still going, and it's because of what I learned from reading this book. So that's the one I would say for that one. Okay, next is A Picnic at the Park is the perfect springtime activity. Choose a book with a character who you think would pack the best picnic basket. Now for this one, I think this would be Arsenic and Adobo by Mia P. Manansala. So this one, excuse my dog, she just shook the camera. This one follows Lila or Lila. She is a cook at her family's restaurant, and just everything that she cooked, that she baked, anytime she talked about food, it sounded so fantastic. So I would love to try her cooking. So I've described this in a book before, or in videos before, but this is a cozy mystery about how her ex-boyfriend ends up dead in her restaurant, and it's her trying to prove her innocence. So it's one of my favorite. It was my introduction into cozy mysteries, and I love it. So I would definitely love to try her picnic basket. Okay, the last one is, let's see. For many, spring is the first break from the bitterness of winter. Choose a book that is the embodiment of sunshine. So for me, I'm going to say that the embodiment of sunshine for me is a book that makes me happy. Doesn't have to necessarily be summertime or springtime, like just, it doesn't have to be any of that for me. But I'm going to say one of these two books, you know what, I'm just going to go with this one. I've mentioned this before because this is honestly one of my favorites. And when I want something that's, you know, summertime happy, I go for a cute little young adult book, and that is Tweet Cute by Emma Lord. I can't rave about this enough. I think this is the cutest little young adult romance book that I've read in a long time, and it just makes me happy. It's kind of like a comfort read, you know. I just, if I'm a little overwhelmed or stressed or something and I need something to read that I just really enjoy, it's Tweet Cute. I love it. It follows Pepper Jack, and they are battling with each other on social media, in the restaurant world, and at school, and yet they're falling for each other. It's just the cutest little young adult romance book revolving around food. Love it. Pure magic. So excited I found Emma Lord and her books. So that is my interpretation of this spring book tag, the Splendid Spring Book Tag. That's my recommendation, or that's my kind of like take on it. You may have different thoughts or, you know, processes for each of those questions. You know, it could be, you know, completely different variety of books, and I definitely think this was fun. It really made me look at my bookshelves and go, which books did I not enjoy? Which ones did I? Which ones am I looking forward to reading? Which ones, you know, were just not fun, or, you know, things like that. It really made me think and look back at what books I've read, and what books I'm looking forward to reading, and really pick and narrow down. So yeah, that's my spring book tag, and I definitely think I want to do more of these. So if there's any tags that you see or you want me to do, please let me know, because I really enjoy doing this, and I definitely want to do this more, whether it's for every, you know, season or for certain holidays or whatnot. So I enjoyed it. And if you've read any of these books and you have the same opinions or different, please let me know. I would love to hear from you. Please leave a comment below. And if you are new to this channel, I would love it if you would subscribe and stick around for more bookish content. And if you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks!